So the poem I did was Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost, and it reads, Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. And first I'm going to talk about the author, Robert Frost. He is connected more to early traditions of poetry that focused on nature and common people. He's also a transitional poet because he was aware of the changes going on in American culture at that time of modernism. He connects past traditions with modern thought. And so the analysis or explanation of the poem is nothing stays new or nothing stays pure. There's That's what gold represents, pureness. Nature or leaf represents what I think is like babies, because in the line, her early leaves of flower, that could represent mothers, babies, or but only so an hour, and that could explain how they grow up quickly, and the pureness leaves them as they grow up. That's what I think, because they are pure when they're born, and then as life goes on, you become less pure. And then the line, so Eden sank to grief. Eden could represent the Garden of Eden, and that's where Adam and Eve lived with God. They were pure. God created Adam and Eve, and they were good, they were pure. But it didn't last. This is an example of diction, I guess, because nothing gold can stay. Pureness leaves everything. So, like, what he says in the poem has like more meaning behind it. Um so also so pureness leaves everything, and that is also shown through Adam and Eve because they fell into temptation, which is kind of like what happens in life. We fall into temptation and we lose our pureness as we grow up. And they didn't necessarily grow up, but they lost their pureness by like not listening to God, and so they got kicked out. So that's kind of what it's meaning. Like, nature's first green is gold. Adam and Eve were gold. They were pure. But only so an hour. It only lasted for like a little bit. And then nothing gold can stay. Their pureness left. They were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Modernism. I think it's modernism because modernism is the response to the social and intellectual forces shaping the 20th century. And I feel like Robert Frost more represents that instead of Harlem Renaissance, because first of all, Harlem Renaissance is like African and American culture, like in literary forms. So I don't really think Robert Frost wrote, he might have wrote more in the Harlem Renaissance that I don't know about, but I feel like he's mostly modernism. Modernism writers were born from after World War One, and it taught the world at the same time that it isn't a peaceful world, and some pureness of some of the good had left after the war. That's what I see Frost trying to perceive in this poem. After the war, we kind of learned the world isn't peaceful, the world isn't all the way pure. Like, of course, before that, we knew that, but the war the Great War, it's called the Great War because it was a terrible time, and it kind of put it in people's head, made them realize pureness has left. We can't have, like, super peaceful times anymore. The rhyme of it is AABBCCDD, and I don't really see any like super interesting analogy behind it. I feel like he did that rhyme scheme just so people could like understand his poem more, or the meaning behind it. But I feel like the overall meaning is that nothing can stay pure, nothing can stay gold. Just like the poem, nothing gold can stay. Your, your pureness isn't gonna last forever. So yeah,